Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Butschern Farming Simulator 22, and it's Friday. Happy Day Friday. The weekend is upon us very, very soon. I hope you all had a good week, whatever it was you were doing. So we're going to do some grass rolling, as you can probably see here. I figured since we're not going to plow, we might as well roll and see if we get a little perk from rolling, I guess. Might as well take the time to do that. This is not something I've done a lot lately, to be honest. I know I've mentioned I've kind of given up on the rolling aspect, so to speak, but this is going to knock our field back a day, grass-wise, but it should give us a little extra boost. What do they say, that it's supposed to be close to a 2% yield increase? Not 100% sold on that, but you know what? We're going to give it a go. Had a few mods out today. Saw the actually, today being Thursday, because I am recording this a day early, so by the time you hear it, this news will be a day old, but I did want to mention that John Deere sprayer. That thing actually looks kind of sweet. You know, if I'm a modder and I want like instant success, more or less, it seems like I'm going to throw something together that's John Deere, right? I mean, it almost seems like if you want to have, you know, if you want some downloads and things, I'm not saying that facetiously, but, you know, quite honestly, if people, you know, people like the John Deere brand, and, you know, I've never noticed that dip there before. It's kind of funny. But the sprayer does look nice. Probably going to have to find a map with decent enough size fields to be able to accommodate, you know, a larger sprayer like that. As far as sprayers go, you know, I don't know. It depends on the map for me. You know, I tend to kind of like the spreaders, the solid fertilizer maybe a little more, just because I'm not constantly having to look out for where the booms are going and what trees I'm going to hit or what fence I'm going to take out. But that's just, you know, that's my bad for not being careful. But I find the spreaders just a little easier all around to use. But I think the sprayers generally are faster, aren't they? So you can usually cover more ground with the sprayers. So that is kind of a plus there. And with herbicide, I guess you really don't have a choice. If you're going to use herbicide, it's a sprayer or nothing. I guess if you hit the weeds fast enough, you can use a weeder. But that's assuming that you hit the weeds fast enough, right? So what do you all do when you play? Do you play more inside cab or outside cab? I've always been kind of curious about that too, like what preference. It seems like it's a kind of a dividing line for a lot of people. They definitely prefer one or the other. I kind of do a little bit of both. I guess it depends on what I'm doing. Something like this where I'm just kind of chilling and I don't have to be like super precise or anything. I kind of like in cab, and it's quieter. It feels it has a sense of realism, more realism to it, doesn't it, than third person. We'll see if I can do this halfway decent. This does seem like a good job for a what do I want to say? Course play. And I know that we tried course play before on this field, and my bale barn, I think, has kind of thrown course play for a little bit of a loop. But I was thinking about trying to maybe do a custom field and just create a custom field out of this to take the bale barn out of it. And I think we could probably get away with that if we did that, if we went that route. So I got an update today for my Logitech G920, my gaming wheel, which is the Xbox version of the gaming wheel, and something has changed a little bit, and I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit to see if I can figure out what's going on. It definitely feels stiffer. I checked my settings, and I can't see anything necessarily that has changed. Usually if I adjust the force feedback settings in Farming Simulator, usually the lower I go on the force feedback setting, the less resistance my wheel has. But that hasn't changed. That's remained 10%. Maybe I just need to sometimes, sometimes things get a bit wonky, and if you set it to a different value and then reset it back to the value that you had it at, sometimes that's all it takes, just to get it straightened out a little bit. But it seemed to start immediately after the Logitech G-Hub software update that was pushed out to me. Speaking of Logitech G-Hub, I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. To me, it's just not super user friendly. I think it's okay, but I don't know. It just seems like some of the design ideas are kind of iffy. I actually really like my my Razer mouse and keyboard, the Razer Synapse. I actually don't mind that software. I actually find that software reasonably easy to navigate and figured that out pretty easily. But the Logitech G-Hub, I don't know. It's not that it's difficult to figure out or necessarily difficult to navigate. I just don't feel like it always does what you're expecting it to do. And I don't like the fact that it doesn't support all of their hardware or some of their older hardware. It seems like that would not be a very difficult thing for Logitech to do. Like some of their older hardware is still very, very popular. Like they've got that joystick, and of course I'm going to forget the name of it, but it's a reasonably inexpensive joystick that's actually pretty well built. It's very, very popular joystick amongst people that play flight sims and things like that. And but you know what? The G-Hub doesn't support it. So, you either have to just not have it supported in G-Hub and, hopefully configure it in-game, or you have to download and hope for the best on their old Logitech software, which is going on like 15 years old now, I think, or something like that. And that's becoming less and less stable. And of course, if you're running Windows 11, good luck with that. Even more so. I barely got that thing to work in Windows 10. Actually, now that I think about it, I may have had that thing in Windows 7. I had a G27. I still have a G27 wheel and pedals and shifter, kind of old school, and it still works very, very well. It's just, it's becoming a little more and more obsolete, and more games aren't supporting it as well. And so I kind of packed that away, and I picked up the G920, and I went with the 920 because we're kind of an Xbox family, more or less. We've had Xboxes of one sort or another. Actually, I've had an Xbox since the very first one. I had the original Xbox. Boy, I wish I still had that. I would love to have my original Xbox back. There was some magic to the original Xbox. It was a special console, and there were some games on that I really, really miss. One in particular is Outlaw Golf. I absolutely loved Outlaw Golf. And I don't know if by chance any of you ever got to play Outlaw Golf, but it was pretty hilarious. Basically, it was a golf game based on a bunch of degenerates of varying degrees, gangsters, well, anyways, you can figure it out. A lot of different lowlives, and but they were pretty funny. And the golf courses were set in like the worst areas, like the golf course downtown, like I think it was downtown somewhere like New York or south side of Chicago, and it's just some pretty dark areas in general where you would generally not, it wouldn't be your first choice for buying a house. And they would golf over the highway, stuff like that. Balls bouncing off of billboards and things like that. But one of the things I remember too that I always liked was the taunting. And if you taunted a player too much or something, they could get you in a fight. So there was actually brawling right on the green. If I remember right, one of the characters was Harley. I think Harley was one of the girls. I can't remember. I do remember Harley, but I don't remember any of the rest of them. But anyways, rambling a little bit. But I do miss my original Xbox. So I had an original Xbox. And then, of course, that one went away for the Xbox, 360 was next, I think. So I had an Xbox 360. Seems like I had two of those, like the original Xbox 360, the white one, and then it seems like I ended up buying, was there like an Xbox 360, like a Slim? Or something like that. Seems like I might have had a Slim at one time, and then of course the Xbox One. I had that. I had the 1S. Actually, getting on later like that, I think I actually started buying them for my kids for Christmas, and now they're on the Xbox Series X, which is quite a nice console. Really good hardware. Never been a PlayStation person. I think it's mostly because, and it's not because it's nothing to do with not liking it or not thinking that it's as good or anything like that. It's that once you become kind of invested in a particular console, it's expensive to switch, because you've got all these games that you've purchased, and some of them, carry over, so you can still play games from the previous generation. But if you switch from PlayStation to Xbox or vice versa, you're starting over again with your game library. I've always thought it would be cool if they would offer like a switching program so that if the games were available on both, you know, like let's say a game was available on PlayStation and Xbox, you could get a discount maybe for buying a different version for a different version for a different console. But I don't think they're into saving us money. I think they pretty much know that, you know, where the cash lies. And it'll be curious to see what next generation brings. You know, I think it's kind of funny how I think with the Xbox Series X, wasn't it like touted at some point by Microsoft, like this will be the last, you know, the last console. I could swear I seem to remember that that being advertised or being talked about, like this will be the last console you'll ever need to buy. The hardware is so good and you won't need to upgrade it, so on and so forth. Yeah, right. Sure. And I actually like consoles quite a bit. It's just a shame that the manufacturers, you know, Sony and Microsoft, oh, missed a shifting there, missed a gear. It's just a shame that they lock them down the way they do as far as for mods. I get why they do it, you know, I do. But it's just a shame because it does definitely limit console players for what mods and how many mods. Oh, great, rain. Guess I wasn't even paying attention to the forecast. Fortunately, I don't think that hurts our plans at all. We're not going to be doing any harvesting today. We're just trying to get our grass in as good a shape as possible. Sounds like a pretty good little storm coming through, actually. I remember when windshield wipers used to be a mod-only thing, and I still remember downloading a couple mod tractors, and you could turn the windshield wipers on and off, and thought that was pretty sweet. You know, they weren't auto on and off like they are in the game. You actually had to turn them on and off, but we had windshield wipers, and we had working windshield wipers in the game thanks to modders. And now it's just kind of become a default feature, I guess you could say, so to speak. But I think as a farmer, I would love these kind of days to be out in the tractor with it raining like this. As long as I wasn't getting stuck in a mud pit, I think that this would be super relaxing. You know, you're nice and dry inside the tractor, turn the radio on, maybe, you know, connect your phone Bluetooth and listen to some music, or maybe a podcast or an audiobook or something like that, and chill out and just do your farm work. I don't think that would be a bad way to make a living at all. Really nice graphics on that, on those rollers too. Yeah, she's storming. She is definitely storming. Crops needed rain anyways, right? it's amazing to see the amount of drought that has been going on this summer and just how much it's impacted farmers. And it's just got to be really frustrating. It's got to be very frustrating for them to put in all that work and effort, and it's not like you can't, you know, you can't say, well, I'm not going to do it this year, you know, because there's going to be a drought and it's not going to be worth planting, you know, this much of the field or this, you know, this field, or maybe we just don't want to plant at all. You know, you can't read the future, so they, you know, I'm sure they put in as hard a work every year, hoping for the best. So it does have to be quite frustrating to put in all that kind of work and really not get nearly the amount of payback as you were expecting. And just to be able to plan for 4 years like that, I think it's, again, I don't know what, you know, government subsidies or what grants or different things that farmers may aid, you know, farming aid that they may get from the state or from the federal government. But imagine, you know, years ago when this, you know, that was it. I mean, there was no help. You either got a crop and your family ate, or you didn't get a crop and your family had to figure out another way to survive. Sometimes it's easy to forget, and I know the words, they're coming out. It's easy to forget how good we have it sometimes, but it is indeed easy to forget, I think, and I'm just as guilty of forgetting how good I've got it sometimes. Just the fact that we're sitting here together playing Farming Simulator, you know, enjoying the game together. That's something to be said. It's kind of nice. I'll tell you, if it was warm inside this cabin, which it probably is, I would be, with this rain, I would be smacking myself in the face to stay awake. This would be such an easy, you know, an easy way just to have a nice nap, wouldn't it? Can you imagine just, I mean, you don't have autopilot. Got GPS, but that's only going to do so much. You fall asleep in a tractor. That's had to have happened, right? I mean, come on. It's had to have happened. Especially with the hours that some farmers, you know, work different times of the year. They've got to be exhausted, and just to be sitting and, I mean, some of these tractors are super quiet, and they've gotten them, you know, to the point where, you know, very little noise, and just how comfortable, you know. And then it starts to get dark out. What do they call that? Like road? Is it road hypnosis? When you're driving and you start falling asleep because the lines in the road are starting to hypnotize you to sleep. Think about that in a tractor where you're just like, you know, I mean, if fields are big enough, you could be just cruising along for like 20 minutes, just straight ahead. You know, you got GPS, or what do they call that? The, not GPS, but auto steer. And let's say you've got auto steer enabled and you're just sitting back chilling, you know. Yeah. guess that's what Red Bulls are for. They give you wings. So we're knocking this field out all right. Does the game have, is this the largest, roller you can get for, where's Grassland Care? Oh, okay, so you'd have to mod, so this one's what, 6.3 meters. Okay. So a 12 meter, wow, and a 24 meter for the Dalbos. And I think these Dalbos are just, yeah, they're just regular field rollers that have been, I think, converted for grass work. But 140 horsepower is actually not that bad for that 12.3 meter. That seems really big for this map. But it would knock this field out pretty quick, and I actually wouldn't mind it if we were going to do more fields with grass. I would say it probably would be worth nabbing a bigger roller. Looking good. Looking very, very good. So I think mods seem to be kind of slowing down a little bit. Is it just me, or does it kind of feel like we're starting to see a slowdown in the average amount of mods that we're getting per week? It kind of feels a little bit like maybe a few less mods and maybe kind of a few more of the, you know, kind of the starting to see more of the same type of equipment. Then every once in a while something pretty special comes out, and it's pretty cool. I was looking too, because I always forget to check, but I was looking to see if contracts were available on this map, because I thought, you know, we could always do a contract if we run out of things to do early enough in the day. But I haven't seen any contracts come available on this map. It may be too small, and maybe the mod author, the map author, didn't include contracts. But I haven't seen any come up on this map, at least not yet. But I feel like that would always be an alternative to earn some extra cash and fill in a half a day of, you know, if we're running out of things that we can do. The cows are probably over there going, I got something for you to do. How about feeding us? That would be something that you could probably do. And you know what, Mr. Cows? We are going to do that when our silage and our bunker finishes up. But that's not going to happen today. I think we're going to have to at least get to October for our silage to complete. We'll wrap this field up and call it another episode in the done pile. What does that make? 28? Is this episode 28? It's hard to believe how many episodes we've been through already. Very nice. One little strip left, and we're golden. Oh, see some clear skies coming up though. I wonder if the rain's going to be stopping here pretty soon. All right. The big field done and dusted. That leaves us with our small field across the street to get done. That one won't take as long, certainly anywhere near as long as this one did. And we can get that thing knocked out and wrapped up. And I think we'll have to start looking at what we can do next. I know our other fields are planted, fertilized, and good to go. I mean, we could roll them, but I guess we could roll them if we've got time. I don't think we have a field roller, so we're going to have to maybe lease one or pick up a field roller from someplace else. But I'm going to stay inside the tractor and stay dry and warm while this storm passes. And I'm going to thank you all for joining me again on another episode of Butschern. I really do appreciate y'all watching. And this weekend, I'm not really sure what I have planned. I think I might put out either a Butschern or a Kubota Farm episode. I think I also have a couple other things in mind. So just keep an eye on the channel for some more content coming out over the weekend. And I do appreciate y'all checking my channel out. And if you do feel like you're enjoying what you're watching, subscribe if you'd like. And a like to the videos is always welcome as well. So y'all take care of each other, take care of yourselves. God bless, and I will see you again soon.